Glass came out last week, so I'm going to review that. So, what did I think of it? It's fine. For a bit of background for those not in the know, Glass is part of the East Trail 177 trilogy. Okay, this cinematic trilogy started with Unbreakable back in the year 2000. It stood out at the time for being a comic book movie at a time when they weren't billion-dollar hits. The film was a slow burn but had a fantastic payoff. Then 16 years went by and Shyamalan made a bunch of crap, but in 2016 we got Split as a follow-up to his last horror, The Visit, but this time had the star power of James McAvoy and sold itself on seeing McAvoy play 23 separate characters, requiring him to stretch himself both physically and as an actor. I remember liking the opening half of the film, but I didn't really like how it suddenly went from a suspenseful thriller about a kidnapper with a split personality, to now suddenly he's a beast and can take a shotgun blast to the face and bend steel. It just didn't really add up and didn't build up to that for me. But then suddenly Bruce Willis shows up and now it's all connected. So he isn't a random monster, he's part of this misunderstood superhero group. So I thought, okay, I'm willing to bite, let's see where this goes. Not wanting to waste any time, Glass is set only 3 weeks after Split. Dunn is on the hunt for Kevin, but both are captured and locked up with Samuel L. Jackson and taken under the supervision of Dr. Ellie Staple, who works with patients who believe themselves to be superheroes. She's given 3 days to change them or they'll be locked up forever. But does it deliver? Well, yes and no. Whilst this film does borrow some elements from its previous installment, it feels like a response to the current slate of comic book films and is unapologetically a comic book movie through and through this time. If you like Split, you're not going to get more of that. Whilst the first half is more reminiscent of Unbreakable, there is a lot more action here. There has clearly been a decision to make David Dunn stronger, allowing him to easily throw guys across the room, break down metal doors, and withstand most attacks from the Horde. This allows more intense fight scenes than the one we got in Unbreakable, but as a result sacrifices anything that I might call close to horror that we got in Split. I think you can really tell that something has been written and directed by Shyamalan, in the same way you can tell something's been written and directed by Quentin Tarantino. Both directors have a very distinct way of writing character dialogue. I don't want to criticise M. Night too much, I mean God knows he's had enough of that, but there is just something about his dialogue that just doesn't sound quite right. Sometimes it can be really good and subtle, and then sometimes characters are flat out just saying what other people are feeling or what themselves are feeling. Top that with the way he directs his actors can come across as very goofy. It's like he doesn't trust his own storytelling. He feels he needs to drop in these bits so the audience knows what he means or what's going on, but comes across as just sounding pretty dumb. There was a moment early on in Glass where the girl from Split finds out that James McAvoy's been captured. The scene was trying to convey that she's clearly not happy that Kevin's been arrested, and maybe even pities him. Instead, we get some dumb teacher saying, "You must be really feeling very happy right now. I mean, you know, it was such a traumatic experience." No one would really say that. In fact, I'm amazed she's even in school so soon after the events of the last film. Was it been 3 weeks? Wasn't her leg bitten so that she couldn't walk at the end of the film? She seems to walk fine in this. What? A lot of the aspects of the screenplay feel rushed. The film was made in 2 years, and it feels like it. I think the script could have gone for another couple of rewrites. I really don't know why the film had to take place 3 weeks after Split. Why not 2 years like in real life? I think the last 20 minutes of the film was desperately trying to set itself apart from other superhero films. I won't go into anything because of spoilers, but the antagonist plan is kinda dumb and pretty flawed if you think about it. The concept itself, we haven't seen too much in superhero films as of yet, but it's heavily featured a lot more in the comics. But I only feel this works if you know enough about comics to understand this is a trope. To everyone else, it's just going to feel out of place, and you're going to be left a little confused. I admire what M. Night was trying to do. I think it's an interesting direction to take, but I wish he'd maybe taken more time to iron out any of the issues and worked on the script just a little bit more. On the acting side, McAvoy once again steals the show. He and M. Night have clearly had time to define the 23 personalities, and we get more of Hedwig, Miss Patricia, and Barry, and these three feel more separate than they did in Split. They have self-doubts, argue with one another, and each develop as the story unfolds. I like this. What I don't like is annoying director cameos, and by God, does this one stink. I really couldn't stop rolling my eyes. It's bad enough when M. Night is giving himself these big speaking roles, but it's even worse when we have to see his goofy, directionless face to the right of shot, and then the story beats you over the head with how connected these films are. We get it. Jackson and Willis both deliver very good performances, but I don't feel they had very much to work with outside of just repeat what they did 19 years ago. The same could be unfortunately said with the three supporting characters. Whilst it's good to see these three actors come back to reprise their roles so many years later, I don't feel that any of them added much and could have been cut out to save on screen time or develop the story a little more. The last actor I want to talk about is Sarah Paulson. Now I can't work out what it is, but when I first saw her in The People vs. O.J. Simpson, I thought she was alright. But then I've seen her in all these other things, and I can't stand her. Now I'm not saying she's bad, but I feel like she's playing the same character in everything she's in. If you like her, you'll like her in this, but I feel she has two modes, calm and angry, and that's all she does. She does them well, but it just doesn't work for me. Sorry Sarah, I'm sure you're a nice person, but no. I think I want to like this film more than I actually do. The three leads do very well, but sadly are just a little underutilized, and I think cutting back on the additional characters could have been made to help develop them further. I like the direction Shyamalan was going with, but I feel it might have just missed the mark. If I rated these films together, I would probably say it's Unbreakable, this, then Glass. Other than that, I would say this film is worth a stream on Netflix when it comes out. I could see myself picking this, Split, and Unbreakable up on a Blu-ray box set down the line, and I am interested to see what M. Night does next. Keep on trucking, Shyamalan. I'm rooting for you. Oh, and if you like or hate this video and want to see a little more, I do a podcast called The Round Robin, and it comes out every Thursday. Last week we looked at the 1981 Pepsi Challenge and why Pepsi lied in their marketing. I'd say it's pretty interesting, but then I do host this one, so I'm gonna naturally say that.